Great. It's been exactly a year that I contracted the virus. While in Thailand, I took several boats, 3 airplanes, and as soon as I got back, I developed the first symptom. I had diarrhea and I self-medicated and got better after 24 hours. I didn't think much of it because I could have eaten something in Thailand that didn't do me so well. I started developing cold symptoms. My nose was really stuffed and I started coughing a lot. I was out until about 10 p.m. one night, and when I came back, I was very ill. On January 10th, I woke up in the middle of the night and I could not breathe. I sat up and I stayed that way for the rest of the night. The next day was a very important day at the school where I worked at, so I didn't want to call in sick. None of the teachers wanted to do that event, so I didn't want to say, hey, I'm sick, because I was afraid they were going to think that I just didn't want to go to work. I taught theater at the time, so it was very intense. I moved around a lot. I spoke really loud. The students were a little young, so it's always a little bit challenging. And in the middle of the lesson, I had to stop because I couldn't stop coughing. The breathing was hard, and my assistant just rushed me to the hospital. The school was with me. They followed me for that week. They made a schedule to have my coworkers go with me to the hospital. The hospital took an x-ray of my lungs and drew my blood and found out that I had pneumonia. They gave me IV for 3 to 4 hours daily for about a week. And after a week, I returned with one of my coworkers and they said, I'm sorry, you are not getting better. We don't know what you have. This was around January 17th. The virus had not been discovered by then. It would be discovered in about 3 days. So they decided to give me a stronger medication. It was a yellow liquid. Again, it was in Chinese and my coworkers didn't know how to translate it. So I just had to trust them. This was in the suburbs of Shanghai, about 2 hours from the city. So I was pretty isolated. There was no supermarkets around the area. So I had to go with my super mask that I had brought because of the pollution before I arrived in China and go to the supermarket to buy food. My coworkers and everyone else at the school, I lived at the school during the time, they left for the Chinese holidays and I was left by myself. So I continued going to the hospital daily for another week. Again, the liquid was yellow and sensitive to light. And after that week, I came back for another x-ray and they said I had gotten better. However, I still could not breathe and the coughing was pretty bad. So they gave me an inhaler, which I took for about 3 to 4 times a day. They did announce the virus on January 20th and I remember it clearly. It was a very scary moment for me because I was alone in China and I didn't know anyone here except my coworkers. And everyone was stuck abroad because of the holidays. Everyone started messaging me, asking me, well, not everyone. That's when you figure out who your friends are. But my closest friends, really my closest friends, texted me to see how I was. And I actually wasn't sure if I had the virus. I never got tested. There was a certain stigma with people who had the virus. It was an intense moment there were some fake news around that period that animals could get coronavirus as well. So people were throwing their pets out the windows. No one wanted to believe that I had it because that would cause a little bit of chaos. After that, I just stayed home. I drank a lot of soup. And in about a month, I started getting better from the cough. It was hard because I think I even ripped a muscle. Everyone stayed home. Everyone was so terrified of this new virus that no one wanted to play with it. No one doubted for a second that it existed. We all stayed home for until about April. That was when we were allowed to leave home. China had an incredible way of controlling this virus. We have a code that is green when you have been to safe areas and red when you've been to risky areas. Whenever you went into crowded places, they would take your fever as well, and people were really just staying home. No one was getting together with their family members and friends. We just really stayed home and tried to be together in this. China has a very strong community spirit, so everyone understood that a little bit of torture for a little while would pay off in the end. And now we're pretty much rid of the virus. Life is pretty much back to normal. We do wear masks when outside, and people wear masks even in spaces like this one where there's no one around. It's a habit. It's a Chinese habit. Even before the virus came about, people wore masks. When you're sick, it's just a way for you to avoid spreading your whatever you have. So it's in the culture even before the virus, so it wasn't difficult for them to adapt. But there was a sense of community and respect here that perhaps we should learn from. And right now our lives are normal again, or at least almost normal. But we continue to wear our masks, and we continue to be cautious and careful in crowded spaces. I want to take a moment to talk about my hospital experience. No one at the hospital spoke English. This was in Zhujiajiao, which is about 2 hours away from Shanghai, from the city of Shanghai, because it's technically Shanghai, but it feels like the countryside. No one spoke English, but they were very, very kind and attentive. I was using a translator, and they were very patient and very caring while treating me. The hospital was very affordable. The school paid for it, but even if they hadn't, I would be able to afford it, which makes you feel a certain safety that maybe I wouldn't have felt, sadly, back home. I could afford to take care of myself, and they were very kind in treating me. I have heard many people saying horrible things about Chinese hospitals, and I must say that I just did not see it. I've been to several hospitals here, and every time I have been treated with efficiency, care, and kindness. I was truly terrified during that period, and many times I woke up in the middle of the night and I thought, this is it. I was away from my family, away from my home country, and I really didn't think I was gonna make it primarily because I felt like the situation was out of control. I was very ignorant about the virus, and I said some stupid things like, oh, I think this is only gonna last for 2 weeks. Oh, now I'm immune, I don't need to wear a mask. And I found out how ignorant I was about it, I guess, now. But it was a horrific experience, and I really wish that people would take it seriously and wear their masks, because I saw it here, how it works. Not only the masks, but really avoiding get-togethers for just a little while. And I think if everyone did it for the community, then maybe we could beat this together.